computer. Brian White is here with me today, and we are going to talk with Brian about the subject for which I think he is best known, and that is what in the heck is happening with the various factories. And I am guessing that I am going to get to learn today because he teased something the other day on X, and I never saw the result of the tease. So, Brian, there is this factory that I am just itching to see production out of. And this is up in Reno, someplace up there in Nevada.
Sparks.
Sparks, yes. And it's a brand new factory. It's not even in the existing footprint. And they're going to make some big old trucks, semi trucks. And you said on X the other day,
I said, is it time to go back to counting squares, my friends?
that's what he said. And he said
That's
that
what
he
I
was going
said.
to make an estimate of the day when that factory would be done and ready to spit out big monster trucks.
Yeah. So this one is easier to model than the past factories, but I'm right now in the part where I'm building the model.
Oh,
So it's about last time it's probably going to be about a total of 40 hours. I'm about 12, 15 hours into it because you got to create all the graphics and all that, but then you've also got to get the math in there and make it in a way that works and makes sense. And the difference this time is instead of saying a specific date, I'm setting a range. But there will be a specific date in the middle of that range that is the actual target. So,
so it's still a tease. It's still a tease.
It's still a tease. It's not done yet. It's not done yet because unlike a lot of prognosticators, I don't just throw out numbers. And I've seen people that do that, people with very high profiles who will say, we'll throw out numbers and then say, well, I'm not going to show you how I came up with it. It's like, well, you probably should. If you're going to tell me exactly how many cars you think are being made, I'd really love to see the math. And the same thing is true of a lot of things that people say with absolute certainty when you can just tell that they haven't done the work.
Yeah.
And so on Reno, we've got development. We saw the steel show up about a month ago. And they immediately got to work digging holes, but not quite yet pouring foundation because it was still too hot. And concrete is not good at curing when it gets over 90, 95 degrees Fahrenheit, which I think is boiling in Celsius. So I'm not going to even bother.
Yeah.
Boiling concrete, pretty sure I did that math wrong. But there's, Reno, it's coming along quick.
Okay. So obviously, even when you have done all the work and you've done all the numbers and your prognostication about the eventual date, since it is something in the future, you do get to put on, of course, your special hat, and that'll help you to be sure of the date. But things like heat, things like rain, things like strikes. I mean, there's always the possibility
Sure,
off by 4 or 5 hours.
Sure. And that's about accurate because when I was tracking Giga Texas and the snowstorm hit, the freeze that shut things down for basically 2 weeks, what we saw after that was an acceleration to catch up again, to get back on schedule, because a lot of the things that you've ordered for this site that you need, all the building materials, are still going to arrive on that schedule as soon as the roads are passable. So let's talk Mexico real quick. I had a chance.
Wait.
Oh,
Can
yes.
you give me anything? Can you give me like a 2-month window?
Yeah, yearish.
A year from
yeah, that quick. And great jumping off point there. Where are we getting the batteries? I mean, I know we have enough batteries. Elon said we are not battery constrained, and we're not. But if we start making semis, which use 11, 12 cars worth of batteries, we're going to run out of batteries pretty quick. The answer is LG's 4680s are set to come online this month. And also the battery production in-house is still ramping up. But the uncertainty about the internal ramp is now offset by the certainty of third-party supplies of 4680s. And the more 4680s that you make, you can resume production of the Model Y with 4680s out of Texas, and all those batteries can then be used in the semi.
Right. All right. So moving on then.
Mexico. This is very exciting.
Oh,
I had a chance to track down my buddy Dick, who is a retired construction project manager. He built big stuff. He worked on the Nike headquarters in Portland. He's built factories for various companies in the Philippines and other places internationally.
Oh.
He knows big projects and he knows them internationally. So I showed him the topography of the
Mm.
site, the future site of Giga Mexico, and I said, what do we do to build on this grade? Can we put the whole thing tiered on piers? And he said, maybe, but you're going to be inducing lateral loads with the equipment. Uh, that's going to, because equipment jiggles laterally. It just does. That's just part of how you move things. And he said, what you'd probably do is, he goes, and I said, do you just blast and level? Do you bring in 1 billion yards of fill? And he said, you can't blast it to level because the hill is supporting the mountain.
Mm.
And he said that type of mountain can shear. There
Mm.
are shear lines in it. We don't know how big they are. On small things, we would just X-ray the site.
Yeah.
I don't know of equipment set to X-ray an entire mountain. So that's a little beyond the scope, as far as he knows, of the technology available today. He said what they would probably do is grade just a little bit off. Of course, use that grade for fill the rest.
I
And
see.
if they needed to at one side, they could still go up on elevated piers. But avoiding that would be preferable.
Right.
And compacting the spoil from grading would be reasonably easy.
Okay. All right. So, what about Texas South End? There's some I don't know, some computers going in or something.
Yeah, they're gonna put in a little arcade there that plays a game called The Whole World Simulated, really. That's coming along great. Um, the concern there is that you can't really put in the computers until the construction's done because computers are sensitive to dust and whatnot.
So I got confused then. What did they talk about? The walk was the walkthrough there or was it Nashville? They said they did a walkthrough. I thought it was at the Austin plant.
They're not running, is what I mean.
Oh,
You
I see.
you
So they
you
use a
can
walkthrough
of the site of the
of this.
location.
Ah,
I do not believe
oh,
that the NVIDIA chips will even show up for another few months,
okay.
because those were the chips that
Right. Propelled off. Mhm.
that they allowed NVIDIA to redirect to XAI while this building is being completed. And
Okay.
to the people complaining, oh, he should have kept them and let XAI wait in line. Look, if he'd have spent hundreds of millions of dollars on chips just to pay to warehouse and secure them, that would have been something I would have actually complained about. That would be a legitimate complaint. Um, and well, he should have sold his position in line. Guys, the problem with being such a critic and being unpleasable is that at some point people stop trying.
Yeah, that's true. So,
There's no point.
yes. Now you were talking a little bit ago about Berlin that
Yes.
you got some information there about not starting to construct yet.
Yeah, I don't know if I still have it up. Probably do somewhere. But Berlin, the VP there, I certainly can't find it now, but
Yeah.
there we go. Um, Tierig is his name. Uh, I think that's his name. They've got a permit to expand,
Oh.
um, but right now they're only doing that with the loading and logistics lot and some external stairs. There we go. Plant manager Andre Tierig said, "We will not spend several billion on the expansion without the signal being clear that the market is asking for this."
Hmm.
So expanding the footprint at this time is not something that they are doing. They have preliminary approval to do so. Of course, that would depend on the actual building plans and all that going through. But they've got flashing yellow, I guess would be
Yeah,
the
yeah.
color of that traffic signal. But yeah, they're not doing it just yet.
Okay. All right. And that only leaves Shanghai. Was there anything new in Shanghai-ville?
Yes, not at the primary site, but at the Megapack factory. The steel is going up. And as of a week ago, there was enough of it done that I'm confident the steel is just done now. It's just done. It goes so quick because it's not a large building. It's not a multi-floor kind of operation. It is a, by manufacturing standards, not even Tesla standards, but manufacturing standards, it's not that big of a facility, doesn't need to be. And so that is absolutely on pace. We've got, what, another 5 months this year, 4 months this year, and then it'll go into production just after that. And just from the looks of it, that appears to be about, definitely Q1 is on schedule, because
Wow.
there are two big factors to consider in addition to its very small size and simple design relative to an auto factory, which is Tesla speed combined with China speed.
Yeah.
Those are two accelerators for any project.
Yeah, and people, they just don't stop to think. Well, let's say people, most people, even people that are pretty Tesla bullish and who, pay attention, don't think about the fact that this is like the equivalent in profit of 400,000 vehicles just in that one plant. And that's assuming that it's at the 10,000 megapacks per year level. It might be at 15, it might be at 20, based on Elon's statement the other day that he's talking about potentially up to triple the current capacity, which would put us between the two facilities at 30,000 units per year. And we don't know how he didn't say anything about how that's shifted, whether it's 15 each or 20 in Shanghai. But one way or the other, we're talking about a massive, well, 30,000 per month at $1 million each is $3 billion, 30 billion a month. No, 36 billion a year. So it'd be 36 billion in sales a year.
Yeah.
So
At 20-25%
5%.
margin.
Right.
And we're going to see another crashing wave of that revenue, just like we have everywhere else, where you look at the revenue quarter after quarter, and I've seen some cynical Tesla analysts who look at the stationary storage revenue and say, look, guys, there's no money here. What in the heck is going on? And I go, you realize how fast they're deploying and that you do not get the full check until it is operational. So
Right.
the more that they're growing, the faster they're growing, the more that revenue will appear artificially smaller than it is. And for a lot of these projects, there is back-end recurring revenue for things like auto bidder. Forget the 50,000 a pack or whatever it is for maintenance. But if you've got 100 of those packs, yeah, that's
Yeah.
5 million. That's 5 million a year. 5 million a year is pennies compared to the billions they're making selling them in the first place.
And then we did have the power wall number came out, which we don't get
Oh,
often. Was it 700,000 a year?
I
Yeah.
didn't see that
Oh,
number,
you didn't
so
see that?
no.
I think it's 700,000 a year is the current production rate.
Wow. 700,000 a year.
Yeah.
Oh, those are margin rich items.
I should, by the way, let me just say that's a in my head number. There is a number, and maybe I'm doing a power of 10 problem here, but I think that was the number. Maybe it was 70,000. I could be wrong. It's not
I think
7,000.
I think 70,000 would be more believable.
You think
But
you're going to
but I
believe?
would love to hear in the comments what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, what
Who
it is.
knows?
Yeah, I'm just saying I can't keep it all in my head.
It's mostly full of, I don't know, cotton candy and yeah, Cracker Jacks. I don't know what's in there.
All right. Well, listen, enough of that. Let me stop while I'm not ahead. I'll stop digging before. Yeah. Brian, as always, thank you for coming on and straightening out all of my misconceptions and my misinformation. And hopefully the people in the comments will sift through the rest. And everybody should follow Brian, and then they should follow me. Not necessarily in that order, but it's okay with me. You can follow him first, as long as you don't forget. All right, this has been great, Brian. Thanks. And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.